In Japan today, a powerful and deeply alarming natural disaster has sent shockwaves, both literal and emotional, across the nation. A massive 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck the western coast, triggering immediate tsunami alerts, igniting fires, destroying infrastructure, and leaving millions of people in shock and panic. This is one of the strongest quakes to hit the region in recent years, and its impact has been felt across multiple cities, from coastal towns to densely populated urban centers. Authorities say the situation is still developing, and the full extent of the damage remains uncertain. But what is clear is that Japan is once again confronting the harsh and unpredictable reality of living along the Pacific Ring of Fire. Today, we take you inside the terrifying moments when the earth shook, the alarms blared, and life changed within seconds. The earthquake struck just after 9 a.m. local time, when most people had already begun their daily routines. Schools were in session, trains were running, businesses were open, and streets were filled with morning traffic. Without warning, a faint vibration pulsed beneath the ground, quickly followed by an explosive roaring sound that many witnesses described as a monster rising from underground. Within moments, the ground lurched violently, sending shockwaves through buildings, roads, and homes. Surveillance cameras captured scenes of shelves collapsing in supermarkets, ceiling tiles falling in offices, and commuters clinging to poles at train stations as the earth moved beneath them. Residents reported that the shaking felt endless. Some described it as lasting nearly a full minute, far longer than the average tremor. In Japan, where minor quakes are common, people know when to stay calm. But this time was different. This time, the shaking was so intense and so unforgiving that even seasoned residents panicked. Many ran into the streets, only to find lampposts swaying like tree branches and cars rocking back and forth, as if floating on waves. The deep rumbling sound accompanying the quake left many fearing that an even larger shock was coming. Within seconds, Japan's advanced earthquake warning system activated nationwide alerts. Phones everywhere buzzed, sirens wailed, and emergency broadcasts cut into television and radio programming. The message was simple but terrifying. A major earthquake has struck. Seek safety immediately. But even before people could fully comprehend what had happened, a second wave of alerts appeared, this time warning of a potential tsunami. Coastal cities were ordered to evacuate immediately. Loudspeakers repeated the message again and again: move to higher ground. A tsunami may arrive within minutes. For many residents in coastal towns, the fear was not just hypothetical. The memory of past tsunamis, especially the devastating 2011 Tohoku disaster, remains carved deeply into Japan's collective memory. The moment the tsunami sirens began echoing across neighborhoods, thousands of people dropped everything and rushed uphill. Elderly residents were helped by neighbors, parents carried children in their arms, and drivers abandoned cars in overcrowded streets to run on foot. The urgency was real. Every second mattered. Meanwhile, along the coastline, harbors began experiencing unusual water movement. In some areas, the sea rapidly receded, an ominous sign often preceding a tsunami, exposing rocks and sea floor that are normally hidden beneath the waves. Emergency officials issued repeated warnings, urging residents not to go near the shore and to resist the dangerous temptation to observe the water. Drones and helicopters captured footage of people crowding evacuation centers, clutching emergency bags, blankets, and documents they could gather in moments of panic. As chaos unfolded along the coastline, several inland cities were battling a different crisis: fires triggered by ruptured gas lines and electrical short circuits. Video from Ishikawa Prefecture showed thick black smoke rising above neighborhoods as firefighters raced to control spreading flames. The shaking had damaged water lines in some places, making firefighting efforts even more challenging. Local authorities described it as a race against time, with rescue teams acting under the constant threat of aftershocks. And the aftershocks did come. Over the next hour, Japan experienced more than 20 noticeable aftershocks, some as strong as magnitude 6. Each tremor sent fresh waves of fear through already traumatized residents. In hospitals, patients were moved to open areas as a precaution. In schools, teachers shielded children and guided them into safe zones. In office buildings, employees huddled under desks or evacuated through emergency stairwells, still unsure whether more destruction was on the way. Transportation across Japan came to an almost immediate standstill. Bullet trains in the region were halted, flights were grounded, and major highways were closed due to cracked roads, fallen debris, and fears of landslides. Some sections of roads split open entirely, creating deep fissures that swallowed parked cars and cut off access to remote areas. Emergency crews were dispatched to locate people who may have been trapped in damaged buildings or stranded in blocked neighborhoods. Electricity outages affected tens of thousands of homes. Power companies reported extensive damage to transformers, power stations, and overhead lines. With temperatures already low due to the season, many families were left without heating. Water supplies were also disrupted in several cities, forcing people to rely on bottled water distributed by emergency teams. Shelters quickly filled with evacuees seeking warmth, safety, and updates on loved ones. Hospitals in the region reported treating hundreds of injuries, ranging from fractures and cuts to more serious cases like head trauma. The constant aftershocks made medical work difficult. Doctors and nurses moved from patient to patient while dealing with the possibility that their own building could collapse or face structural damage. As the situation evolved, Japan's Prime Minister addressed the nation in an emergency broadcast. He urged citizens to remain calm, avoid unnecessary travel, and follow instructions from local authorities. He confirmed that search and rescue teams, military units, and disaster response experts had been deployed across the affected areas. "Our priority is to save lives," he stated, "and to ensure that every person receives the help they need." Meanwhile, international reactions began pouring in. Neighboring countries monitored the tsunami alerts closely, ready to assist if needed. Geological agencies around the world issued statements analyzing the quake's characteristics. Early data indicated that the earthquake occurred along a known fault line where tectonic plates frequently collide. But the severity of this event raised questions among experts about increased seismic activity in the region. Back in Japan, social media filled with emotional messages, people searching for missing relatives, sharing videos of destruction, and warning others to stay safe. One viral clip showed a group of commuters inside a shaking train station, holding hands and praying loudly as debris fell around them. Another video captured the moment water rushed into a coastal street, flooding cars within seconds. These raw, unfiltered moments revealed the true terror of the situation. As hours passed, the feared massive tsunami did not strike at the scale initially predicted, but dangerous waves still reached parts of the coastline, flooding streets and damaging fishing ports. Authorities warned that tsunami threats can last for hours, and that people should not return to low-lying areas until officially cleared. Despite the relief that a larger wave had not arrived, the flooding that did occur was enough to cause significant damage, especially in areas where seawalls had cracked or collapsed. By midday, assessments of the damage began to trickle in. Entire neighborhoods reported structural destruction, with some buildings partially collapsed. Schools and community centers turned into emergency shelters for displaced families. Local leaders emphasized the need for patience. as recovery efforts would likely take days or even weeks. Engineers were inspecting bridges, railways, and tunnels to determine their safety, while rescue workers continued searching for survivors trapped under rubble. One of the biggest concerns facing authorities now is ensuring access to essential supplies: water, food, blankets, and medical resources. With transportation networks disrupted, getting supplies into affected regions has become a logistical challenge. Still, volunteers from across Japan have mobilized, offering donations, transportation assistance, and emotional support. Experts warn that major earthquakes often lead to a series of aftershocks that can last for days or even months. Residents are being advised to stay alert, avoid damaged buildings, and prepare for possible additional tremors. Geologists noted that today's quake released massive energy, but stress along nearby faults may still be high, meaning further seismic activity cannot be ruled out. As night approaches, much of the region faces darkness, cold temperatures, and uncertainty. Families are gathering in shelters, listening for updates, and praying for safety. Emergency crews continue their work tirelessly, knowing that the next few hours are critical. With fires still burning in some locations, unstable buildings at risk of collapse, and aftershocks rattling nerves, Japan faces a long and difficult road ahead. Yet, even in the midst of devastation, stories of courage and resilience are emerging. Firefighters rushing into burning houses despite repeated aftershocks. Neighbors forming human chains to rescue elderly residents. Volunteers comforting frightened children in evacuation centers. These acts of bravery reflect the unbreakable spirit Japan is known for. As the country navigates yet another chapter in its long history of natural disasters, the world watches with sympathy and support. Japan's preparedness, discipline, and unity have saved countless lives today, but the scale of the damage will only become fully clear in the days to come. For now, authorities continue urging caution, stressing that this crisis is far from over. The earth has shaken, the alarms have sounded, and the nation must come together once again to rebuild, recover, and remember how fragile life can be. This is a developing story. We will continue to bring updates as more information emerges about this powerful 7.6 magnitude earthquake, the tsunami alerts that followed, and the fires and chaos that swept across multiple Japanese cities. Stay with us for ongoing coverage.